Okay, good. Wow, Karen, that was stunning. Thank you. And Lara, you know, someday we'll probably have to talk about you going into the ministry, but not today. You just have such a wonderful presence. Stop smiling. Don't shake your head. I'm Reverend Jody Hill Stevenson, and I am so glad to be here with you all today as your senior minister. I am not Reverend Marilyn Lewis. We had some technical difficulties, so she is not here with us today, but I am. And I think it's perfect. It's just perfect. Our first Sunday together as me as your senior minister. So welcome. My title is not From Darkness to Light, but I'm talking about From Darkness to Light. I actually want to talk with you about the holy holidays of 2020. I mean, holy holidays. So, as we move into the 2020 holidays, what does this mean to us? I mean, we all know that um, it's different this year. Let me state the obvious. In the third dimensional reality, many of us will not be able to be sharing time with our families and our friends. We will not be experiencing some of our holiday traditions. We will not be able to all get together and hug on Christmas Eve and light a candle together and sing and dance and care and share in house, but we will do that online. And we all know that there's this beautiful golden thread that just goes from our hearts to everybody on out into the world. So, on a third dimensional level, we get to feel gritchy about that. We get to feel, as my teenage kids, oh, so many years ago, would say, well, it's just pissy. And I go, yeah, it is. You're right. We can feel sad. We can feel frustrated with the shift in our holiday. It's good to admit that. It's good to feel it. It's good to share it. It's good to be in it. But it's not good for our soul to hang on to it because there really is good news in all of this. There really is. So let's dig just a little bit deeper and see what we come up with. Holiday, the word holiday literally comes from it's an old English word, and you're going to hear a little bit of my perhaps my Midwest twang. It comes from the word halidig. Halidig. Uh, halig means holy, and dag means day. The word originally referred to only for special religious holidays. The modern use varies throughout the different parts of our country, but in North America, it literally means a day dedicated to rest and relaxation. But let's take that even deeper. A holiday is a holy day, and every day is a holy day. Dr. Ernest Holmes, our beloved founder, says, here and now, we are surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. How much of this infinite good is ours? All of it. And how much of it may we use, may we have to use as much as we can embody? It's up to us to give thanks and experience every day as though it truly were holy. To live in the now and realize that every second, every nanosecond, every minute, every hour, every day is holy. It's sacred. It's a wonderful gift that we have. And the very source of our living is that which is breathing through us. So I'll never forget in ministerial school. I had been in it in 1983. I had been in it for, I don't know, 3 months. And we had a professor there that was so loving and yet so hard on all of us in so many ways. And in class, whenever he would focus on a student, the rest of us would go, oh, phew, glad it's them, not me. Well, in this particular night, about 3 months into ministerial school, and I got to tell you, I was a mess. My whole life was unraveling. My marriage, my home, my health, my identity as a suburban housewife. Oh my gosh. And I'm sitting in class and we're talking about the subject of omnipresence, which when we get omnipresence, we get the holiness of every moment. So I'm sitting there and Dr. Ernie turns to me and he said, Jody, where's God? And I could see everybody else going, oh, phew. And I went, God is in the trees, God is in the sky, God is in rocks. And he went, Jody. And everyone's like, ugh. And my heart was pounding. And he said, I want you to wiggle your big toe on your right foot. I said, what? He said, yeah, I want you to wiggle your big toe on your right foot. So I did, and he said, that is God. Now, where is God? Where is God? And I went, oh, God's in me. And all my classmates stood up and they gave me a roaring standing ovation. I'm like, oh my God. But in that moment, I got it. Every moment is holy. What takes us out of our awareness of every holy moment is our thinking. We know this. I mean, we're all great religious scientists. Ernest Holmes tells us that life is a mirror and we will reflect back to the thinker. And it will reflect back to the thinker what he or she thinks into it. Our goal right here, right now, is to remember and recognize that every moment is holy. It's a sacred, sacred experience. There's a perfect Tao story, a Taoism, as many of you know. I'm an avid student of Taoism. And I'd actually like to read it to you. It's called The Tao of the Strawberry. And it just sums up what we're talking about. A middle-aged man was taking a walk in the jungle just east of his village. He was trying to relax, trying to find his center, trying to find his authentic self, trying to take in the beauty all around him. But his monkey mind was coulding, wooding, and worst of all, shoulding all over him. That's shoulding all over him. He had so much to do, and with so many people counting on him, he simply could not relax. Then all of a sudden, he heard a growl and a rustle behind him. He picked up his pace, and the growls grew louder. As he glanced back and saw a pack of scary, big-fanged, four-legged monsters chasing after him, he started to run as fast as he could. The pack became louder, more excited, scarier, and more vicious as they began nipping at his ankles. He ran with heightened fear, adrenaline ravaging his body. He turned to the bend and came to the end of the path. There he was, standing on top of a huge cliff. He really had no choice but to jump. As he slid down the mountain, he saw a branch. He grabbed onto the branch and he took 3 deep breaths. Quickly, he glanced down and he saw another angry pack of demons with large fangs barking and jumping, nipping at his ankles. He looked up and he saw the pack of intensely barking monsters. He looked down at the frightening, growling pack of the demons below. And just then, with a crackling sound, he felt the branch he was clinging to break. Another 3 deep breaths. As he exhaled the last of his 3 breaths, he looked up and he looked down and he looked to his left and he looked to his right, and then he saw it. With great trust, he held on to the crackling branch and stretched to the right as far as he could, way over to the right. He plucked from the mountainside the most beautiful red, ripe, and juicy strawberry. He took another deep breath and he bit into the strawberry as he stepped into the Tao. I love this story because it sums up, and it's so symbolic in our lives today. The monsters that were chasing after him represent our negative thoughts, the rushing and the judgments about others, and especially ourselves. Who are we to criticize ourselves or anybody else? It's one of the most wonderful things we can do to create holiness in our moments is to stop being so critical of others and ourselves. The guilt and the shame that hold us onto the past, these are the monsters that keep us from experiencing our holiness. And the demons, the ones that were nipping at his ankles, well, those are the worry thoughts for the future. We all need to try to control. How does that work for us? How many of you have ever tried, or how many of you have ever felt that you were being controlled by someone else? How many of you have ever tried to control someone else? Which one is easier? We'll talk about that later. So, and the strawberry represents right here and right now. So, what was only known by the kings and priests for ancient thousands of years is now common, scientifically proven truths that our thoughts create our reality. From the world of psychology, we learn that when we feel guilty about something, we are in the past. You can't feel guilty about the future or the present. So anytime you're feeling guilty, you're in the past. If you're worrying about something from a psycho-spiritual perspective, you are in the future. And when we are in the past or when we are in the future, we're not in the sacred, holy now. When we are not in the holiness of now, we can't be present with others. And I have to tell you, there is no greater gift than for us to be present with each other when we are present with each other. Does that make sense? When we are with each other, let us be with each other. Because, oh my gosh, whether we're online or whether we're in person, it's the greatest gift we'll give each other. I used to do a seminar called Time is of the Essence, and I would act out how we would break the connection. And I would get someone to start talking about a vacation that they would tell, and I'd actually bring them up on stage. They'd be sitting next to me, and I said, "Well, tell me about your favorite vacation." And they go, "Well, gosh, this was in Portland. Well, one time I went to Colorado, and then I pull out my phone and I go, oh, excuse me, I gotta answer this. I wasn't present." I watch people do this all the time. Be present. When we are not in the holiness of the now, we can't be our authentic self. I have come to believe, having been in this profession as long as I have and doing the deep work from that first night in ministerial school in 1983, that the spiritual path is a path of authenticity. Let me say that again. The spiritual path is the path of authenticity. There is nothing more important than for us to show up and be our holy selves. When we are not being present in the now, we're not experiencing a peace and a joy that is ours to experience. And when we are not in the holiness of the now, we can't be creating the lives we want to create. We can't be creating our very best lives. Someday I want to do a sermon that I did years and years ago called "You Can't Have It All." We can't have it all. We can't think negative thoughts and expect to have what we want. I know that this holiday season is going to be a very different holiday. We have lots of fun things planned for our community. And I know that I am stating the obvious, but things actually have the potential of being calmer, simpler, and less chaotic as we practice surrendering into life, literally the holiness of each moment. You know, the greatest sage of all, bar none, anonymous. Oh my God, they just wrote brilliant things. Once wrote, "Today I choose to live by choice, not by chance. To make changes, not excuses. To be motivated, not manipulated. To be useful, not used. To excel, not compete. To choose self-esteem, not self-pity. I choose to listen to the inner voice, not the random opinions of others." So, what takes us out of our awareness of our holy day is our thinking. We choose that. We choose every moment. So, remembering that no one is doing anything to us, we come back to now. Somebody asked me the other day, I was coaching someone, and they asked me, "What do I do when I get to now?" I thought, that's a great question. What do I do when I get to now? And I said, you know, you're in the now when you have nothing to do. You only breathe. And you notice that that which is wiggling your big toe is the very source of your being. So, what I'd like to ask you to do right now is be in the now with me. So there are three places on our bodies that we can focus on that really bring us down. This comes from some of the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda and others. So the three places are the third eye, the heart. So the third eye is where our wisdom from the divine comes through. This is Yogananda used to say, if you only focus on this for one solid day, you will become a sage. You will become enlightened. Well, I took that challenge on, and about 30 seconds into it, I'm thinking about the grocery store and are the kids okay? And I got to pick I mean, you all know that. So the second place is the heart, and the heart is where the divine flows through its love. It's where we forgive. It's where we listen to the sweet whispers of love for ourselves and for others. So much happens at the heart. Science is now telling us it's more important and more powerful than the brain. And then the third place is the solar plexus, right at the, right at your waist level. This is the place of personal power. So whatever is happening in your day, I tend to go to my heart just because that's where I like to go, but I also like any place. So choose right now. Do you want to be at your solar plexus, which is often called the Hara point? And the Hara point is the point of personal power, or your heart, where you experience love, or your third eye. So just go ahead and put your hands wherever you want to be, because right now, in this moment, I'm going to ask you to be right now in this moment with me. So let's take 3 deep breaths together. And just go ahead and float your float your thinking back into a past experience. Something that might be unhealed for you, something that you want to clean up, something that you wish had been different. And then go ahead and bring your attention back to this present moment. And then allow your thinking to go out into the future. Something you're excited about, something you're worried about, something that's confusing you, something that you're just so looking forward to. And then bring yourself back to now. Bring yourself back to now. Noticing your breath. Noticing, and let's all just go ahead and indulge me, wiggle your right big toe, giving thanks for that which is breathing through you and making it happen right here, right now. Bringing yourself back to this room, to this community, opening your eyes. So to summarize, when I was the senior minister at the Portland Church of Religious Science starting in 1987, at the end of the service, I would walk down the aisle. We were seeing about 150 to 200 at that time. I would walk to the end of the aisle because I wanted to go out in the celebration hall to create a hug line. But I would turn around and I would say these words, and the whole congregation would repeat after me. So if you'll indulge me, I might even send you a copy of this statement. It's about the holiness of now. So, first statement. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Go ahead and say that with me. Something wonderful. Why don't you unmute? Can you unmute? Let's all do this together. We are so in the flow these days. Okay, I'll say it and then you repeat it with me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful happening to me right now.
Practice. It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called life.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in everything I do.
Life is in everything I do.
I accept it.
I accept it.
I honor it.
I honor it.
I love it.
I love it.
And so it is. Thank you, life.
And so it is. Thank you, life.
Oh, you all get a gold star.
Yay, Jody.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope you know how much I love you all.
Karen's going to sing.
Thank you. She may. Let's hope so.
We love